I think we have a quorum.
Yes, we do.
I see John Englander is not here.
I have 11 here.
11 out of 12,
I show 16.
13. Oh, what's that?
Yep.
I show 16, not 11.
Board members.
Oh
Board
yeah,
members.
board members. We have some division managers, new board members too. So.
Cool.
So out of the current board members, we do have a quorum, right, Glenn?
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
we do. And it's some old business. There's a lot of minutes that we need to just kind of make sure no one has any questions about.
Right.
There's John.
There's John now. Okay, great. Well, let's get started. I don't want to take everybody's time. It's a Friday night after all. Opening business, call to order at 7:07. Glenn is recording. Great, we have a quorum. General business, any changes or additions to the agenda? I did put a note there about the status of the New Bedford chapter. We had talked about this, but we didn't really do anything about it. We could talk about it now and get it off the board, or put it down later. The only thing I could say about it is I tried to contact Nate Ogg, our BHS staff members who's in charge of healthy chapters and everything, and never got a reply. So I need to follow up with that on exactly what needs to be done. David, you have not heard anything either, probably, right? David Patterson?
No, not a thing.
Okay. Well, I will rattle his cage then. I'm surprised. They're usually pretty good about responding. So, okay, and enough of that. The other thing that I wanted to talk about, add to the agenda, is to determine a time and a place, or not a place so much, but a time and a date for the next House of Delegates meeting. And I'm thinking about making it part of our convention weekends. So in your planning, Dan, if you have a 2-hour block of time sometime during that weekend, that we can.
I already have it set, yes.
Oh, you got it set already?
Do you want to know when it is?
Yeah, that'd be great.
It's Friday, October 16th from 4 to 6.
Eastern Standard?
Yes.
Eastern Daylight, excuse me.
4 to 6. Okay, great. So that covers that. Excellent. Let's move on. Let's talk about our next board meeting. Since Sundays seem to be or are tied up with a very successful Leadership Academy, I'm just thinking, I don't think there are any Sundays in September, right, David?
Well, that's not true. There are some Sundays, but they are Jewish holiday Sundays. September 20th is Rosh Hashanah, and the 27th is Yom Kippur. And that's why we avoided them for the online Leadership Academy. But they are available as far as a Sunday night, a Sunday evening.
Okay. Would anybody object? I'm not sure if there's anybody of the Jewish faith amongst us. I don't hear anything. I don't see anything. What were those dates again, David?
The 20th and the
September
27th.
20th and the 27th.
Let's shoot for September 20th then. That's approximately a good month away.
At 7 p.m.
Yep. Great. Okay, now let's move on to the minutes. We have a lot of minutes from various meetings we had. I hope everybody had a chance to look at them all. Do we want to accept them all at once, or do we need to talk about any particular one? We want to go through them one at a time.
I move to approve them all.
I second.
Okay, since there's no discussion, any other discussion, I guess? We'll accept them.
There's also YouTube videos of them if you really want to go back and dive into HFI versus VHS.
Yeah, thank you for doing that. They came in handy when I had to summarize what we did and send that off to the district president's council last week. So that was great. Okay, approval of minutes. Secretary's report.
Nothing to report, but now that we have a fall HOD meeting, it means that before the next board meeting, actually, we're going to need reports. So
Right.
I'll start to gather that stuff up and ping people for it.
What date, Glenn? What date we do?
So
want 'em by?
I need to send it out 30 days before, which means September 16th is when I need to send it out.
I understand, but when do you need it?
Oh, I mean, let's see. If September, so that's what day of the week is September 16th.
Wednesday.
Wednesday.
If I could have them on Monday, so let's say September 14th.
Okay.
That will be fine.
Thank you. That'd be great. Well, I was going to be a subject later on anyway, I think. Yeah, so district officers submit your reports to Glenn. Great. John,
Yes, sir.
do you have any?
There's not a whole lot to report. There hasn't been a lot of activity. We have received one dues check since our last meeting, and it's down from last year, but it's consistent with what we put in the forecast. So there's no real change there. We did receive yesterday or the day before our first check for donations from BHS. So somebody has contributed to BHS and designated some of it to the district. Other than that, we also have had, the only outgoing activity we've had are the monthly charges for MailChimp and the new one for the Zoom. Other than that, there's been no expenses.
Great.
Has anyone else, while as looking on that note about receiving money from the society, from fundraising, has anyone else had experience with that? We had a Providence man that donated a sizable amount, and we've already received it. They promised it within 45 days, and it was. Anybody else have any history on that? Money coming back to the chapters that you know of?
I don't know. I did hear from other districts that somebody else in another district was mentioned at our board meeting, DPC council meeting the other night. Okay. Thank you, John.
Welcome.
Let's move on to some old business. David, would you like to say how things are going with the online Leadership Academy?
Well, obviously, it's beyond our wildest expectations. We have a total of 96 individual registrants. Our class size is now, for the rest of these meetings, will be around 65. We have 69 for tomorrow night's class, or Sunday night's class, but a number of people are staying away, and I guess a number of people registered like for all 8 classes, and then they're picking and choosing. They don't appear at all of them. Some haven't appeared at any, so it's kind of weird. But it's okay. But like last week, we only had like about 39 people. We had over 60 registered or enrolled in the class, but we had less than 40 that actually showed up. But I'm not worried about that. But we have great representation from the district with the number of chapters that are represented and the number of NED barbershoppers that are attending, and it's very encouraging. in the classes we've gotten really good results as far as the survey that comes out every Monday, and it's very encouraging. And I'm also, I guess we're being watched
Yes,
by other
yes, you
districts.
are. You were the topic of discussion the other night on the district president council meeting.
Really?
Aaron, in particular, was very impressed, and Ed was very humble, didn't say anything.
Thanks a lot, Ed.
That's not, that's
No, I
my
mean, he didn't brag about it like I would have.
But it's,
But,
yeah, it's I'm in a group of other VPs, chapter support and leadership training VPs, and several of them are very interested. One was, he said he was petrified at the idea of having to put together an online leadership academy. And this was somebody from a very prominent district, but he was so encouraged by what he saw. And I sent out a letter of I'll be sending out another one, but the first one was about how we organize this using Eventbrite and so forth. And he said he feels a lot better, and he's moving forward now. And of course, his will be better than ours, but that's how it goes.
Not bloody likely.
Whatever.
I don't know.
It's very encouraging, and a lot of great comments from people. And yeah, so it's been wildly successful. And phase 2 is coming up. That starts October 18th. The schedule is in place. The faculty is in place, except for finding someone to do our website design 101, and still reaching out to some people. So
excellent.
Still working on that.
All righty. I think you set the bar pretty high, David.
Okay.
On how to do this. And like Mike said, you know, I didn't want to brag too much, because I just wanted to be sure that everybody knew that we were doing this while people from the LOPT were telling us how they were going to make all this stuff available to districts to set up their own leadership academies. And I just mentioned to everybody, we're a little bit ahead of you here. I hope we didn't jump the gun too much, but we've already done this. Yeah. And it's going on right now as we speak. And a lot of the districts are planning them.
Yeah.
But
I think it helped that we started. Actually, we had the faculty in place before. We had Katie McDonald and Bev Green in place before the end of last year, moving toward the in-person physical leadership academy at HC&E in August. But that helped a lot, and then getting them to agree to do online classes was very easy.
That's great.
Yeah, it's been working very well.
Excellent. Anybody have any questions of David?
No, I have to say, I like the pace, David. I think it's nice to not that we haven't tried to cram it in, that since you started so early, we've got a lot of time to get through it. That's been, I have appreciated that.
Well, that's something to think about in the future. Would we want to do more than one a week? It's something to think about for the next go round, or get a second Zoom account to double up on Sunday evenings or something. Something else, things to think about in the future.
David, how much impact is that on you personally? In other words, is this what you're going to be doing for 4 months because you're doing it every Sunday kind of thing? Is that something, maybe during COVID, this is great, but is that going to be feasible in the future?
Well, as I like to tell people, I've been retired for over 10 years, so being at home is normal for me. So I have the time. I'm doing it for nothing, because you cannot afford me if I tried to get my money back for all the time that I put in it. But it's been very satisfying seeing these results. I was kind of worried when we first started, but it's really taken off, along with participation from Area 2, Harmony Incorporated, and Region 1, Sweet Adelines.
Great. Okay. Thank you, David.
Yep.
Okay, Dan, can you give us an update on the virtual convention? We didn't have much time to talk about this last month. I apologize for that. I kind of figured you had no whole month to get things in order, and you're just going to wow us now with everything that you've got planned.
Well, I did give a presentation 2 times ago, and that is still holding firm with this event being 2 weekends long, full of education, socializing, presentations, and even a little singing in there, but of course it's a virtual chorus. Although VR is had some people who are doing Jamulus, which is a live singing thing that they're going to show off. So we have a lot of cool stuff going on. What's happened since I last spoke to you was we have a lot of the people who are big names in the society have been willing to come and host presentations. So Adam Scott, Steve Scott, Marty Lovick, Steve Tramack, Chad and Alyssa from Voices United are going to present, and Daily Special. And there's some other people I just can't remember off the top of my head, but thank you to Alan and Ed for giving me some ideas about who to bring in. And they're doing it for free, and it's just amazing how much people are giving it from the society to other groups. Kai Outerbridge, of course, is the other half who's putting in a lot of time on this, and he is working on a song that the virtual NED chorus will learn, and that will be the week before the virtual convention, and they'll hopefully have the video ready in 2 weeks for the last night of the convention to present the NED chorus. So that's exciting too. The things that I just sent out a few days ago was we're looking to have choruses present 15 minutes a biography about themselves, because sometimes we go to conventions and we don't really know. We know what they sang, but we don't really know like what's the backstory of this chorus. So we thought this would be a nice opportunity to learn a little bit about each chorus. So division managers, if you could also encourage your choruses to respond to my email that was looking for 15-minute presentations. We're hoping to do at least 12, and I'd love to have more than that, but choruses could learn about each other. What's the history? Where'd you come from? What are you known for? What is something you do every year? What quartets sprang from that chorus? So I think that would be a fun thing that we haven't had an opportunity to do before. And then at the nighttime, we have a couple of presentations. We have we have a keynote address. Marty Monson was busy for our date, so I'm still trying to get Tom Shalhoub. I think he would be really awesome. I haven't heard back from him. I sent him 2 emails, and if anybody here knows him personally and can give me his phone number or something, I really want to hear back from him before I move on to somebody else.
Yeah, he owes me money.
Dan Costello, I think, would have his phone number.
All right, yeah, I'll reach out to Dan.
Yeah.
Kai's been the Dan Costello contact.
Ah.
But I'll see if Dan Costello can send me that way. Or Sebi, I mean, he's part of NEDAC too, right?
Yep.
I could reach out to some of his...
Unfortunately.
Who has said that?
Well, I will bug Tom Shalhoub and use all my presidential weight to see if you can't get him in contact with you.
Who was
I'd be happy to.
that spoke? Thanks, Sebi.
Great. Do you plan to have like a schedule of events in place pretty soon, times and durations, and that we can start to put it on the website and market it? Because we're gonna essentially we want to do this pretty much like we're going to register for a regular convention, so we could get people to sign up for it and send them the video links and the Zoom meeting links and things like that.
Sure. Well, there's going to be a lot of that kind of logistics needed to be put together, and I have some questions before I can do that. But the general dates are already out there. I think you just put them in your newsletter. Friday through Sunday, the 16th through the 18th of October, and the next weekend, Friday, Saturday. And the events start with chorus bios at 1 o'clock and then go into the evening with afterglows hosted by different groups going to 9 o'clock. So I need to talk to Glenn, I think, before I can put that together. And
Yeah.
Because I want to talk about the moving to the biggest Zoom package we can get for the month of October, and what does that entail? Because I'm not knowledgeable about that, and I want to have like 3 or 4 things going on at the same time, schedule wise.
Okay. So yeah, basically the questions. So the questions are, how many do you want simultaneously? And those are like $15 a month. So it's not that's not that much. And then how many of those are going to be over 100? And I think the next limit is like, John and I looked it up the last time we were there, but I think it's like 300 or 500 is kind of the next one. So
I think for the night events, I expect it could be 300 to 500 because everyone's watching one thing.
Yeah, I think there's 1,000 there too. So if you have a rough number, like let me know, and just kind of how many simultaneous, that'd be good. And I assume the simultaneous ones would be less than 100. Is that true, or do you think it's going to be more?
I think so. Okay. And some of them will be YouTube live instead of Zoom.
Yep.
So that we could put together a presentation beforehand and then send that link to people. So not everything is a Zoom.
Okay.
The other thing I'm looking for help with is any quarantine videos from choruses. Again, division managers. That was part of my email to musical leaders. Any quartets out there or choruses who have done videos over the quarantine, we're hoping to stitch those together and put them on the last night as well in a YouTube live video.
Hey, Dan, contact Steve Wolf from Destination because they've been doing the Wednesday night thing. They have a ton of video.
Yes, he gave me the ones that he had for the contests.
Yeah, but he's got other ones too.
He's got more.
Oh yeah.
Okay. He was a big help. He said he couldn't help us in terms of logistics, but he does have some videos that he can send our way.
Yep.
I'm looking for Sebi to help me a little bit with the NEDAC night. Sebi and Dan Costello. Kai has been the one through Dan Costello, but we want to have a night of celebrating NEDAC champions through time, not the videos from like the present time, but videos from past time. So Dan is working on that, I think, but he needs some assistance or some encouragement. So maybe Sebi, you could get in touch with him or Kai. That's what Kai's been working on. And then also we're having NEDAC section leaders for the virtual chorus. So that'll be fun too. There is one project that is pretty cool that's going to be happening during this event, and that's there is a Boston Common look back that has never been seen before. Like one of the sons, I forget which son, was making an overview of Boston Common and has some footage that's not been seen before. So that's going to be a really fun event that I think it was supposed to be shown at a convention somewhere, but it never got on there. So that's where I am in terms of putting things together. I'm working on a keynote speaker. I'm trying to figure out what to do with the Zoom stuff and collecting chorus bios and quarantine videos.
Great.
And Steve Solomon also should be on there because he's been helping me out a lot with some other project, but that's more like a new business project.
Yep.
If Ed wants people to register for this, then you should be talking to John Englander too for Eventbrite.
Yeah, we don't want people to. Are you saying I should have people sign up for particular sessions?
No.
Or
no.
Just for the whole event.
Just for the whole event, so we have an idea. We like to, we'd like to publicize it a little bit and make it feel as much like a convention, except we're just not all going to be together.
Can you make it so it sends somebody a reminder that, hey, today is the convention, and it will happen every day of the convention?
Well, we've not done that before, but I wouldn't be surprised if the capability's there. I'll look into it.
Well, for David's, we get notifications. Is that because everyone is a separate Eventbrite event?
And David sends it out.
Yeah, he just gets the email list, I think.
You're on mute,
Uh,
Dave.
All right. Thanks for your help, everybody.
So
David,
Dan,
trying to say something?
Yes, the Eventbrite, people register through Eventbrite and then pick individual classes to enroll in. And then I get an email that shows everybody, what everybody has enrolled in. And then I send out my email distribution lists from that information.
Okay. Thank you.
So I don't think it's necessary to have people register for every event of the convention. I was just thinking that it would be nice to actually, register for convention. As an example, those of us who are going to partake in the Legacy Quartet contest this weekend, you register. Of course, people were asking for money for that too. We're not asking any money, but I still think the charge on Eventbrite would be $0. It's put in their calendar, and these are the dates. And we should be able, once you have the schedule of events blocked out, we could get that on the website so people know exactly what's happening when. So I doubt that they're going to spend, all day Saturday, all day Sunday, but they might say, hey, I'm going to go Saturday evening and listen to this part, or Saturday afternoon, I want to hear chorus bios, and so on and so forth. So, okay, David's got his hand up. Oh, Glenn had his hand up first.
So Dan, you had mentioned once about money for the thing. You had mentioned, I think, $1,000 in a previous thing. Did you have a plan for that? I mean, I know that Eventbrite, for instance, one option is even on free events, you can ask for donations. So you could just say, hey, suggested donation, sign up for free, but suggested donation is like $10 or something. I don't know if that's an option, if that's the way you wanted to go, or if you had other plans. I was just trying to give it.
Well, the board seemed to say that there was $1,000, and that's all that we really need to have the virtual chorus video put together to pay those folks.
Okay.
So, Dan, a question. I talked a little bit with Kai about the possibility of conflict for Sunday evenings, the 18th and the 25th. Has that been resolved, or where do we stand on that?
We're not doing anything on the 25th. I haven't really secured this. I had that Lou Perry watch party thing working with the Boston Common at 7 o'clock, but I haven't talked to the Sun yet.
Okay.
So I could move that if that was a conflict.
Well, it's already a conflict. I mean, it's already scheduled, and the guy doing the president's track is just, well, if I told you who it was, you'd know what I'm dealing with. So anyway, the possibility, the thing to consider is that there aren't going to be 65 or 70 people attending these classes. Right. This is going to be going out to only NED chapter officers and board members. So we're not going to be impacting a lot of people. So I don't know that it would have a huge impact on something that may be scheduled for your convention.
Yeah, but I don't think you want to have somebody have to choose. If, let's say it's the Lou Perry thing, and I'm a chapter president, I want to see the Lou Perry thing,
Yeah.
What time is yours on the 18th?
I'm sorry?
What time is the 18th for you?
All of the classes start at 7 o'clock.
David, we could move the 18th to the 11th if you.
Well, that's a Saturday night, so that's another.
I mean, or the 12th, yeah, or the 12th.
Well,
I can move my thing earlier. That's fine. I haven't scheduled it yet.
Okay. It would be nice if it was clear.
Okay.
Plus, we don't want to be
conflicts.
fighting over the district's Zoom account either.
No problem.
Yeah, I would say definitely that whatever you plan, Dan, in my opinion, David's right. It should end by 6 or 6:30, so people have a chance to then at least a little break before they can hop on and get onto David's program.
Okay.
Got it.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. While I still have Dan on the line here, do you want to mention about your other project that's been going on? A lot of emails been going back and forth, and we have a new website up for that. And how's that going? explain it to everybody.
I'd like to have Steve Solomon do it since he has put most of the work into it. I was just the idea man and Ken kept pushing him to do it.
I think Diane also had an
Yeah.
input in this also, right?
Yeah, now there's access off the NED website to a two-part setup, which is chapters and choruses. It was opened in the NED, but now it could actually go, I mean, it's been advertised on Facebook, so now it can be worldwide. Haven't seen any response yet to it, but chapters and choruses who are having Zoom meetings where they have a special guest can now go to one place and see a list of all of the future Zoom meetings that are scheduled, and look at the guest list or look at the topic that's being discussed in the meeting, and then request from that chapter to join that meeting, as long as they are willing and able to do so. And so the list is live. It's basically monitored daily, or at least every night. And that way we can purge and keep track and add stuff. And it's open to anybody. As Ed had mentioned, and Dan as well, next week we have two competing guests on two different chapter Zoom meetings. Two exceptional people, as I wrote up quickly in Ed's newsletter. So I'm hoping that more of that will occur. A lot of that has occurred already, which is the reason Dan and Kai and Diane and a few other people got involved in this. And basically a lot of people, there's a lot of great stuff out there that is just going to a few select people. And there are chapters and choruses willing to share that. So I think that's very, very cool. So please spread this amongst your circles, however they are virtually. And it is open to across the country. So there have been a few chapters across the country who have invited everyone and anyone. And I'm going to specifically ask them to list their guests on our list and see how that goes. Is there any question?
Yeah, Steve, let me ask Mike Savard, who handles our Zoom meeting. Mike, you screen everyone that comes on to our Zoom meetings, right?
Yeah, and I gave my email address for this program, so anybody who wants to join has to email me. I'll send them a link, and then everybody goes through the waiting room before they get access to the meeting.
Right.
So everyone would have to go, is that pretty much standard?
Right. The links to Zoom meetings are not posted by us. What is posted by us is simply a contact person in the chapter or chorus to ask permission to join that meeting. It is then completely up to the chapter or chorus to allow that person to join. So the control for the actual meeting still resides with the chapter or chorus hosting. It does not, we will not post Zoom meetings directly.
And I believe starting on September 30th, Zoom is requiring one of things. Every Zoom meeting has to have a password. And if you choose not to have a password, you will be required to have a waiting room. And that'll be across everything. Yep.
But again, that'll be up to the administrators at each of the Zoom meetings. Yep.
Right.
Exactly. So yeah, we don't want to get involved in
No.
Crisscrossing, and it's just too much for us to get involved with. And that's, this is something that the chapters and choruses are doing, not us.
So basically your site will just say, for example, last night we had Kip Buckner. That would be advertised on the site, and if people wanted to do it, they get in touch with Mike Savard, and Mike lets them in.
Right. And I'll be keeping track of all of the people who are the contacts and emailing them each week to remind them to update for the following weeks. What's upcoming on their calendar for Zoom meetings and special guests. There are a couple of chapters who have just said anyone's available anytime. But my emphasis will be, well, when you have someone that's special, or you're having a program that's a special lesson, and it could be benefited by a lot of people, that's when we want to make a big deal about this. But right now, so I am separating the list. So people who have open meetings with no guests are at the bottom, but all of the meetings with special guests are at the top. And that way it keeps it separate. and people fill out a form, and the form populates the spreadsheet automatically, and it standardizes the information to keep it short and sweet. So I like that.
Kudos to the work and effort that's gone into this, because I had several members of my chapter asking about something. Isn't there someplace to go? Isn't there a resource? What is the district doing? And this is a wonderful response to that. I mentioned that on our Zoom meeting on Wednesday night, and our membership person actually sent out all the contact information for that site. So it's wonderful. It really is. Thanks.
Great. The next aspect of this project is to collect all of the recordings that choruses might have of special guests and have a web page that you could go to and watch old recordings, so you don't have to just show up on that night.
It's excellent.
Excellent. Very good. Yeah. It's also a fine opportunity for those chapters who might not be meeting to partake in a chapter meeting someplace.
Well, that's my concern here, everybody, and I know it's all a concern for everyone here. So this is nothing new, but we've had only 8 chapters respond so far, and we have
How many?
8.
8.
And so we have 34, 6, whatever other chapters who we don't know what's going on. I would love to know what's going on, because I can tell you in my chapter, this has been pretty tough. And so I'm just curious, how things are going, and how can we stir up more of this involvement by members who are not getting enough at the chapter level. And, I'm hoping that they'll just join in and join these other meetings and be inspired and try to do something on their own. That would be nice. And I know that technology is part of the problem here, is one of the hurdles. But by now, some of these chapters should really be embracing this and pushing through it. So any suggestions or recommendations or comments, always open to hear what you got. So let me know, please.
Okay. Very good. All right. Moving along. I didn't put it on the agenda, and I just realized it, and I thought maybe I'll just throw it out there. Is there any updates or any action or business that needs concerning any of our conventions for next year, 2021? Or we still just dates are sort of set and penciled in, and we're just waiting?
Yeah, our dates are all set, Ed. We've got them out 5 years, so that's all set. I'm waiting to see what C&J is going to do in the society with the spring season. I would not put money on that yet.
Okay. I see Bob's on the line also, but he's muted, so I don't know if he wants to say anything or not.
Hello?
Hi, Bob.
Yeah, Ed. I've been in touch with the St. John's and Cape Cod and up at Lake George, even as late as today. And we're just, all of us are just playing it by ear. I mean, we have no idea of what is happening, but yet we're in contact with each other, and we have been in contact with each other monthly, and to see where things are going in the other states, and certainly with Canada.
Great.
So we've made plans. We're set to go. Who knows what happens?
Alrighty. Good. Moving on to some new business. Actually, it's not really new business, but we had the 2 discussions last month. One with Scott.
So regarding dates, are we set with the date for HX Camp for 2021 yet? With the university?
The date for that you had given me in that email,
Yes.
penciled in.
Okay.
The staff is worried about, they have other things on their mind right now.
Right. Okay.
So, they understand that the contracts will be coming, but usually they don't come out until January.
Okay.
So we are
we
penciled
run with
in.
that for the moment.
Yeah. I mean, we're penciled in for the dates that you sent me at this point.
All right. Good.
Okay. Okay. As I was about to say, we did have those two conversations, both with Harmony Foundation and also with BHS about fundraising. Is there any other follow-up discussion that we need to do about that? Is there anything that you think that we should do as a board to help our members, look at the facts, look at both groups, and do you feel that, like I said, do we need an official statement, I guess, from the NED board? I'd like to just get your feel for that, David.
The Harmony Foundation International sent out a post today. I don't know if it went to all barbershoppers or just to HFI donors, just talking about their district centric plan. And I thought it was very well written, and I wonder if it's something that we should get out to everyone in the district. I don't know if everyone has received it or if it just went to HFI donors. But I think we need to let people know that the board is not siding with one group or the other in this conflict, and that everyone has to make up their own mind at this point.
You got Sebi, then John.
So, I mean, both pitches have been made. I guess my concern is, and I don't know where the district lands with the Harmony Foundation after their pitch, but Perry's, like, one of the things that hinges on Perry's pitch for Harmony Foundation is, well, clearly to me, backs us into some form of a position by showing support, by giving them time at conventions, things like that, unless we're going to give equal time at a convention for Harmony Foundation to speak or, do that kind of thing at the podium and BHS to do their thing. It would seem to paint us as saying, hey, we've kind of gone in this direction. I think that's what Harmony Foundation wants. I'm not saying I'm one way or another for either one. I'm just, that's Harmony Foundation in their funding model. What they want from us is a clear sign of support for Harmony Foundation. Whether we say it to the membership or not, it's going to come across in future events that there is some form of position, unless we're giving equal time to both parties to, make their pitches at every single event. I don't know if you want to do that, but just something to consider.
John?
Yeah, my comment is that Harmony Foundation's request actually requires action on our part, because one of the key points of theirs is that they need us to provide them the list of members that they're now no longer getting from the society. So for us to implement the Harmony Foundation plan, we actually do have to take a concrete action more than just allowing them to attend our conventions.
Yeah, pretty much, John. The District President's Council has been almost, and I would say unanimous in that we can't do that. Give out the membership lists and email addresses and things like that. We're staying away from that aspect of it. Ed, is that a fair statement?
Yes, and it was mentioned in no uncertain terms not to do it.
Okay. Well, then in essence, we're telling the Harmony Foundation we can't support their plan, which I'm not opposed to, but their plan won't, I'm not sure their plan will work as stated, but definitely without that, they've got no chance.
Yeah, well, that's, I think, one of the many legal issues that has to be resolved before we can go forward with this. Scott had his hand up first, and then Alan.
Yeah, so that issue just triggered something. Is as soon as Harmony Foundation finds out that the districts are all not going to do that, they're going to run around, go the other way, and go after the chapters. And what's our position on that? How do we make sure that we don't get any legal problems there? Because obviously the society owns that information. They don't want it given out. And do we need to let the chapters know that you're not supposed to do this? It's
I think that the society itself will make sure the chapters understand that that's
good point.
private property.
Yeah, Alan?
Yeah, I would just point out,
I challenge
Alan was speaking.
Go ahead, Alan.
okay, are you done, John? Because I don't mind.
I wasn't done. I wasn't getting started, but go ahead.
All right, I was just going to say regarding whatever it was that came out from Harmony Foundation, which is interesting because I looked, I didn't get anything, and I'm a fairly heavy hitter in donations to Harmony Foundation, so I must have pissed them off somehow or other because they don't want to talk to me. But
I didn't see anything either, Alan.
Yeah,
I've
okay.
seen nothing.
Yeah, so you're obviously pissed them off because you're an EVP for a district, you know.
Hey,
Anyway,
I got something from them, so I saw the note. So
yeah, the society a week earlier in the week sent out to everybody who was donators to Harmony Foundation a package of information and a sheet to fill out and send in to donate to BHS. Not everybody knows that each one of these things is happening, and as soon as we start publishing anything to our members to keep them informed, we miss something else, and we risk the chance of, you know, alienating one side or the other because we just don't know. I still think the best thing for us is clean hands, stay out of it.
It's still way too messy for us to do anything beyond letting the membership know that we are remaining neutral.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. That's our stand. That's where we are. It's still way too confusing. I love some of the plans. I love some of what they're putting out, but I don't know which one is better than the other one. I don't want to get into it. I do not want to get into any of it.
I think it's interesting that this whole thing, if nothing else, is forcing the two organizations to rethink this whole thing, and that the bottom line may be, and I don't know about you, but at least vocally in social media and everything, it's kind of calmed down a little bit. So it may be that given enough time, some rational brains will take over and something good will come out as the result.
Okay, David?
I think it was in Livewire, or anyway, the society announced hiring or looking for 3 employees to work on their donation platform.
Yep.
Full-time employees.
Mm-hmm.
John, did you want to, we kind of jumped over you, John. Do you want to say something about the mailing list?
Well, yeah, I was gonna, but based on what Scott said, first of all, I think he asked the question, should we give the chapters any direction or any help in deciding how to handle this? But somebody made the comment that the society owns those membership lists, and I'm not sure I completely agree with that. I think the chapters own those as much as the society does, but we need to potentially warn the chapters that they have to protect their members' private information and can really only give that out if they have the members' permission.
Okay. Yeah. One reason I sort of asked this is because I think the next step, at least from Harmony Foundation side of this thing, is we might be getting calls, or I might be getting calls asking us for specifics about our programs, what we would like to have funded, how they could work with us. And I just, at that point, we might have to make a decision or something. I don't want to tell these guys, oh, no, we're not going to do anything. We're not going to have any programs next year, or we don't need any money. That's not too good either. But on the other hand, if we start working with them, again, that's going to say one way or the other that we might be choosing a side there. And I don't know if we're ready to do that yet. So those people who are running programs in our district who have plans for next year might start thinking about, what those programs might be and what they might look like, and if you need funding for them, and let's start thinking about what we might need. Not so much that we can talk to HF about it or solicit their grants or their monies or whatever, but I think it would benefit us to know exactly, what kind of programs we might want to fund for next year. So you might think about that. I haven't been contacted yet, but I'm sort of expecting a call not too soon, not too distant future, from somebody saying, hey, look at Ed, NED has got some great programs. We're going to help you fund them and everything. So what are your plans, or what are your high priority plans and all this kind of stuff? And I'm not really sure how I'm going to answer that kind of question right now. David, and then John.
David.
You're on mute, David.
Sorry. Do you think we'll ever get to the point where we'll be held hostage by either organization as far as getting our requests for grants? If we don't side with one group or the other, if we side with HFI, will we be in a better position to receive grants from them, and the same for BHS?
No, I don't know. I don't think so.
I think that's kind of like the old union days. As long as all the districts stick together, that can't really happen.
Yeah, I'm encouraged to hear.
Like trying to break a union, you get one guy to do it, and then.
Yeah. John, you wanted to say something?
Excuse me. Yeah. Couple of observations. We talk about if we give Harmony Foundation any support, any information, we may be choosing sides. I would make the observation that if we don't, we're also choosing the other side by default.
Right.
To the comment about whether or not we're being held hostage, I would argue we already are by the whole way that this thing came about.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I tend to agree with that. I also want to say that I still think that there are, for lack of a better term, negotiations and talks going on behind the scenes that I know nothing about. There is still some work being done trying to bring these two sides together.
Well, we do know, Ed, that the talks are continuing.
Right.
The district president's council has a task force within our group that has been communicating and continues to communicate in trying to get the two sides together. Ed and I are not privy to what that information is, but it is happening.
Right. And it'll also be a pretty thorough looking look at the financials of both sides to see if we can get some clarity there. Brandon.
Just to add one point from the Canadian side, it might be nice just to get a note out to us north of the border, just kind of talking about whether or not this really is applicable to us. Sure, BHS and HFI are applicable to us as an organization, but as far as donations and everything, they're not. But I know that specifically people in the courses that I'm associated with, people were really reading into those emails that were sent to us and kind of having a little bit of a freak out about the material. So I don't know if they really understand that it doesn't affect us as much. Now, I've told the two courses I work with, but it might just be nice, because we have courses in the north in Canada, to have a message just stating the clarification of Think Canada versus the South kind of deal.
Mm-hmm.
I think, Ed, I think Sing Canada has put out a statement already about that. And if we could grab, if you grabbed that statement and sent it to our chapters,
yeah,
that kind of retains us in a neutral position. Because I believe Sing Canada's point is right now, if any Canadians donate to either BHS or Harmony Foundation, it is not tax deductible because they are both foreign entities.
Correct. Yep.
Yeah, I think I brought that up early on with both Perry and with when we first had this discussion, and I asked about Canadian participation, and they were very clear that none of this really has any particular impact. So if there is, are you saying that as Canadian chapters you have not received anything, Doug or Brandon?
Yeah, that's
You
right.
have.
We haven't.
We haven't received no commentation stating that this does not affect us.
Well, I think that's something that we should look into, Ed.
You can do that with Murray.
Yeah, I was just going to say I'll get in touch with Murray and see
Or-
what he has to say about that.
Or add a mic, yeah, with you.
Okay,
Okay.
and I'll look into that.
All righty. Great. Thanks for that discussion.
Yeah,
I
good
have-
point, Brandon.
I have one more thing on the agenda, sort of for the good of the district. And just as way of background, I got an email a couple weeks ago from Steve LeClaire. Everybody knows Steve, member of the Manchester chapter and Central Connecticut chapter. And Steve provided me a video of something he did. It's a sort of like a video interview. And I should have looked at it before I got onto this meeting tonight. It was with a longtime member of the Northeastern District and a quartet guy who, he sang with the, I'm going to say, name of the quartet might be the Top Hats? Is that
Okay, Lou Grillo. Well, Lou Grillo's dead, so that wouldn't have been easy. Doug Cassidy.
Unless it's an old one.
Dickie Grillo would be the tenor of the Top Hats, and I think the others are all dead.
Okay. The name doesn't ring a bell to me, but anyway, he sat down with his little camcorder, little video recorder, and sat down and asked him a lot of questions about what it was like singing with them and what his remembrances were. It was sort of like an oral history of that quartet and the performances and stuff. And he suggested that he'd be willing to do this for any other people that we could recommend to him. Just as sort of to preserve some of our history and our legacies, especially some of the more senior members of the district and guys who've been around, like maybe Mike Mano, for example.
Senior.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
But
we have a communication within our chorus because Mike Savard is on our board of directors. So whenever I send anything out, I sign Mike the older. He's Mike the younger.
Oh, okay. So anyway, he was asking, and I said I'd bring it up to the board. He'd be willing to do this. It's all on his own time and everything. I don't think it costs any kind of money or anything. He put together a pretty nice little video, interspliced with some footage of the quartet, some singing and things like that. It was really pretty good. So I think maybe between Mike and maybe Paul, Alan to some extent, some of the
old duffers,
the more mature members, huh?
Yeah,
the more mature guys have had some history with the district, much more than I've had. Can come up
anyone with a 50-year membership or more.
Right.
But I don't have to do anything. Thanks.
You're not 50 yet?
No.
Oh, how about Jim Nolan must be 50?
No.
25.
50 years yet? Doug Schofield.
David is.
So I think what I'll do is you think about it. If you come up with some names of some men that you think might be worthwhile, just let me know and I'll forward them on to Steve and let's see if he could arrange for an interview for those guys. I think it'd be great to have. Okay.
That could also be a resource for Dan for what he was asking about earlier, putting some things about chapters and such at the convention situation.
And also for our history site.
Yep.
And the history site. Yeah.
Yep.
And somewhat on that vein, I think I mentioned to you last time that the Four Scores, it's our 50th anniversary, and I'm moments away from confirming Larry Tully and Gary Bowles and I getting together with a tenor to be named later. Have a spot, have something available for a video for the convention.
Yep, we have a whole night dedicated to NED champs, past champs.
Superb. Excellent.
They call the NEDAC show.
Yeah.
Good. Did I see any other hands?
Brandon had his hand up.
Yeah, Brandon, that's what I saw.
I was just going to say, too, awesome opportunity to reach out to universities. Ethnomusicology groups are usually looking to kind of get this kind of stuff happening, too, as far as interviews and stuff. The Anchorman, where I'm in Newfoundland, have a video / recording of our 4 founding members, the Saltieres. And we only have that because MUN has an ethnomusicology department, and they audio recorded the 4 of them talking. So might be interesting then for projects or whatever else too, just for future development, to reach out to ethnomusicology groups, and they might want to fully dive into categorizing our histories. And that could be awesome to have just moving forward.
Good idea. Good idea. Okay. Is there anything else for the good of the district? David.
I just received word this past week that Walt Dowling will be stepping down as Pine Division Manager as of the end of this year. I'm already recruiting a replacement.
Has nothing to do with health, does it, David?
Has to do with he just passed his 81st birthday and said he wants to spend time doing things that he enjoys.
I just want to make sure he wasn't sick.
No, he's not. But he just wants to. He's cutting back in some of his other barbershopping activities, is what he said.
81 went down easier than 80 did for me.
Find that hard to believe, Paul.
I know. I'm such a baby.
Steve?
So this is a new item. I've noticed across the country that a few districts have offered to cut their dues to members. And I'm curious whether or not we've discussed this at all so far, whether it's been any kind of a consideration. Obviously, it's a big one for John Englander and a workup maybe for him. And I don't know when this would be implemented or when it would expire. But, at this point, I know that some districts have announced to their members that their dues for the district have been cut in half. And that's not a huge amount of money for us, but if we're providing less, it might answer the call that, we're responding with charging you less. So I'm just curious whether that's a deal, an issue. Yep.
I noticed that the society sent out an email, I think last week, that said that they're offering 50% off dues for new members. I think it's only new members on an international level. So just so people are aware of that.
Yeah, I read that, and maybe Alan can clarify maybe a little bit. But I read that to be just an initiative to try to recruit new members between now or for the next quarter at least. Yeah.
Well, it is, but they also are offering half dues to people that we have lost, who have not paid their dues, who rejoin during whatever period it is they identify.
Right.
Yep.
I would, if I could add too, if I'm correct, we've got, I might be wrong in the numbers, but 12 or 1,300 members. If we cut the dues in half, that's $13,000. I think that's fairly significant.
Yeah, it is significant, but that assumes it's for a full year too. I don't
Correct.
know.
Well, if I'm in the second half of the year and you cut them for the first half of the year, me and half of the district are going to be really PO'd.
Oh, well, then maybe we should do it.
Yeah, good.
Yeah, I can run some numbers if somebody wants to make a proposal, but It also reminds me, I had a member of our chapter ask me if there was a way to suspend their membership for the COVID period, since they're not doing anything and not getting any value. I did ask Society, and they said they don't have such a process, but they're always considering new things, which I took to be, thank you for your suggestion. But
Thanks for your interest.
Okay.
but if I recall correctly, last meeting, somebody asked about the renewal of lapsed memberships. And I did ask them about that as well. And if you have 20 years, you lapse your membership and you join back up again, you should start at 21. So if anybody has been told something different, they really ought to contact the society.
Okay.
I was just going to say, as far as the dues cut, I think it's important that we do things like Dan and his committee are doing, and run this convention at no charge, realizing and making sure that people understand it's costing us something. I mean, just Dan alone, with what it's costing us to have him online tonight. But no, it is costing us something.
Right.
And I think that if we can show that we are still providing a service, it's going to be a whole lot cleaner than trying to figure out, okay, let's do this for 3 months and who gets this, and I'm a 50-year member, I don't pay dues, so what good does that do me? You know, that kind of thing. Like Alan said, if you cut for the second half, what about the first half? And I think you're opening a can of worms, quite frankly.
Okay.
I think we need to promote what we are doing, the Leadership Academy, the activities that are going on with the convention, all the stuff that Steve does, that is provided through the website, all the things that the district is continuing to provide that we probably are, as board members, taking for granted, versus touting that these things are here.
Especially the ongoing expenses that we have just to run the district, including things like now we have the Zoom meeting, a Zoom account for the district, and these other expenses that are coming up that I don't think everybody realizes. So unless there's any real strong feelings for pursuing this any longer or any further, I sort of get the feeling that there's not going to be a lot of support to cut our dues, at least this year. If things go on worse next year, I think I think for the, well, maybe it's not true. I was going to say, for most of the members, their experience in the hobby is right at the chapter level. And it's chapters that aren't meeting right now, so because they need the support too, because the chapters can't go out and sing anymore and earn money that way either. So we're all sort of hurting. There was a hand, yeah, but Doug.
I've had some questions from individual members up this way about this matter of cutting dues because the services aren't the same, etc. But I think that what Mike was saying a minute ago about the convention would be a good idea to have it, and then I could tell them that yes, we're still having all these things and you can watch this for free, and that's what they're looking for.
Doug, I think it's important for your guys up there to know too, there are several of them participating in David's online leadership academy.
Yep.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
This is not new to just our organization, by the way. My wife's Quilt Guild, a number of others. It seems to be that time in the 6 months that we've been locked up that people are looking at, what can I get back out of this kind of a thing? So I think it's just indicative of where we are in this pandemic.
Yeah.
Great.
Well, it's a feel-good move. So the districts that have implemented this is just their way of appealing, to the pocketbook and their pockets, and it's just a quick feel-good thing. And yeah, in a big way, it's a nightmare.
Yeah.
So.
Okay. Alrighty.
If I
Thanks.
can chime in on that, I think the other feel-good thing is what Mike suggested, and I think that's a much more positive approach. Show them what we're doing, providing them the services in a different fashion than what they're used to getting them, rather than give them money back.
As long as they read Ed's newsletter.
I was just going to say that's the perfect forum for this, and maybe that's the subject of your next letter.
I already got stuff for the next letter. Believe it or not, I won't tell anybody yet, but it's going to be interesting.
Okay.
Well, yes, but yeah, we'll put something in about that too.
Are these the pictures of Alan we were talking about?
No,
Oh, no. How about we've gone over an hour and 17 minutes now. So unless there's any other business that needs to be talked about right now, I would certainly accept the motion to adjourn. Thank you for your time. Sebi, is that the motion? Sebi's motioning to adjourn. And there's no discussion on this, so we are adjourned. Gentlemen, thank you for your time.
And lady.
Next meeting, just remind you.
And lady. Bye, lady.
Yes, I'm sorry. Yes, sorry, Diane.
Just one of the boys, Diane.
That's right. September 20th. Start thinking about putting your reports together for the HOD meeting. Get them to Glenn. If you have any questions on what to include, especially, would be nice to if some of the new board members who are coming on board, if they have some plans or something they'd like to talk about or goals or something they'd like to see, now's the time to get those reports in. So, Steve.
Quickly, just to so Glenn, I just emailed you and added those 3 people to the group list, so they're all set. And what was the other thing I had on my mind? Oh shoot, I lost it.
Thank you.
Are you a 50-year member?
Damn.
Hey, easy.
I forget what it was. I'll email whoever it was.
Okay.
Thanks.
I think it's just you and Doug and David, Mike.
Okay.
Well, I'm 61 years.
Right.
Yeah.
Mine's 61.
David and I are the same, I believe.
Yeah, the 3
I
of
think
us
he's got me
are.
by a few months,
Oh,
if I
and Paul.
remember correctly.
Right. And
The
Paul.
three of us are, yeah.
You'll never catch up, Mike.
Keep pumping, baby.
Yeah, right. Percentage drops, but real numbers don't lie. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Once again, guys.
Bye-bye.
Again.
All right, everyone.
Night, everybody.
Good night.